What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Here we are, first weekend in July already. It's July 7th, which means that it's hard to believe it's already time to start thinking about our fall food plots here in Minnesota. So what I have behind me here is a nurse crop of rye that I put in last fall. I just overseeded it into my brassica, and then when I did some frost seeding for another section of clover that I added on, I added a nurse crop of rye in that as well, just to kind of help it with the weed growth and everything throughout this summer, to where if I cut it here later on this summer, there should be a little bit of a bed of clover in there to add on to my existing stuff. So it's kind of going to be a multi-part video here, or a multi-week video I should say. I'll just combine it all into one video obviously. But first week of July, first thing I have to do, I got to get this rye knocked down and out of here now. You know, I was going to try and seed into it and crimp it, but it's so thick in there, you know, where it's not rye, there's weeds coming up, so I'm just afraid that I'm just going to lose so much of my yield on what I'm going to be planting in my fall plots, that I'm just going to cut it, get the most of it drug out of here for what I can, and then in about a week here I'm going to spray the new growth. Then I'm going to give it a couple weeks, till it, spray it one more time, and then I'm going to try the Monster Bucks food plot seed, the rut greens this fall. Gonna start here, and then Friday I'll be jumping over to that permission piece and doing some work over there. So let's get started. Man, that is some thick stuff, guys. But I got it all, I did it all twice. I kind of crisscross cut it, just chopped up that rye the best I could and get these weeds. But this further half here, last year I did a brassica mix down on the end here. Now about half of this I frost seeded clover into, which like in here you can kind of see there's some clover in here coming up, but a lot of this broadleaf crap that do a second dose of clef in here once this stuff starts to come up a little more here, just to try and eradicate some of them weeds and grasses. But that's gonna do it for today. Friday I'll be over at the permission farm working on that one. Alright, it is Friday. We are back at it here over at the permission farm, prepping a spot to throw some rut greens in a couple weeks here. I threw water in the tank at my house. I didn't really want to burden the landowner with bugging him to fill up my tank, so I got 15 gallons in it. So I'm hoping that if I can't get it all, there is a pond to the north of where I am going to be spraying. And then there's a little water hole back by where I'm going to be spraying as well. So I'm hoping that with all the rain that we have, there's enough water back there to where if I have to, I'll grab my bucket, fill my tank back up a second time, mix it up, and get the rest of it sprayed. Show you guys this stuff here. Just get it in bulk. It's a little cheaper that way, if you know you're going to be using a bunch. All right, let's go to the jungle. This is kind of what I'm looking at here, just so you guys have an idea. So this spot was all flooded out when they planted the corn. So obviously, as you can see, there's about a 30-yard window here, which again, it's unfortunate for the farmer. Obviously, they want to get the biggest and the most yield they can possible, especially if you get the seed in the ground and nothing happens. But for a hunter, it opens up a nice little window of opportunity here. And I've never been able to do this over here because we've never had a year like this since I've been hunting here anyway. But first I got to get all this stuff sprayed, killed off. I'm not going to be able to get my little tractor back here to turn this up, so I may just pack my drag on the four-wheeler somehow, rip that drag through here as much as I can just to get the soil worked up. And then down this way, maybe come around this little outside corner here and work my way in here, kind of mainly overseeding in this area, but right here I'll rip the drag in and out of here too. This is all just thick, nasty buckthorn into a huge swamp back here, so a lot of bedding, a lot of thick stuff that you don't want to be going into and smashing them out of there. So I just edge hunt this. Unfortunately, you need an east wind for it, but the cool thing will be is just having some sort of an attractant in here different than the corn. Maybe get them pop out here a little bit early, and above all, just feed them. And once they take the corn, that rut greens blend in the rye, you know, it'll leave them some food afterward to have in here for late season. So this should be a cool little spot. I'll get my tripod set up here and I'm gonna get to work. Time to get to spraying. That's gonna do it over here. I have to do the same thing back up my own place. I got two little areas that I'm also gonna be putting a brassica mix in, so I'm gonna kill that off today as well. A couple weeks from now, I can come back over here and get this seeded. I don't know, this ground there must be a little bit of a clay base in here because it's just rock hard after it was so wet and then starting to dry out now. So I'm hoping my drag will fluff this up enough to get a decent bed. Otherwise, I hate to just waste a bunch of seed and have it sit here and do nothing. So get loaded up, head home, and do the same thing at my place. We'll see you there. All right, guys, real quick update, July 20th. Gonna head back and till a couple spots that I killed off about a week ago on my property here. I didn't want to have to till it, but it's just too thick, too heavy to not till it. I don't have a drill or anything to put my seed in, so I am gonna till it and give it about it's supposed to be pretty relatively dry and hot here the next week and a half, so I'm gonna till it now. That way any weeds and stuff that come up, I can spray them the day that I do get my seed in, depending on the rain. So very hot, about 95 degrees, and I don't know if you can see them, but the deer flies this year are absolutely insane. All right, guys, we made it back here, and I am glad I ended up mixing about another 10 gallons of Gly, just because I have a cell cam set up back here, and I could see in a couple of the pictures for a while there everything was looking nice and brown and killed off from the first time I did it, but now it's, as you can see, the weed growth and everything is starting to pop back up already. So I am going to hit this one more time just to try and give this plot seed a little help with getting any nutrients it can. This spot in here that I killed off stayed okay, this little pocket in here, but I'm going to end up scratching this up with my rake and getting some seed in there as well. But yeah, this poor old machine just keeps going. It's just crazy. Tank full and back, drag on it, fertilizer and seed on the front. Somehow it just keeps going, luckily for me. But yeah, I'm gonna get this stuff unloaded here, do my spraying, and then this bump out right here, there's a pond back here to the north. We're looking at 90-degree temps here for the 10-day foreseeable forecast, so I'm gonna slide my cell cam up there by that water just to see what happens, because I have to come back here probably around Labor Day again is when I'm gonna check on this, and if there's any bare spots, or I'm assuming there will be, but I'm gonna bring in some rye just to sprinkle in the bare spots and kind of broadcast around in here just for a third source of food for them. So that's the plan right now. Let's get unhooked and get spraying. We got the drag hooked up, so it's time to really beat on this four-wheeler, and this stuff is still pretty hard and crusty, so I'm hoping that this little drag will bust it up enough to give me somewhat of a bed here. Alright guys, I've been ripping that drag around for over an hour now. It just doesn't seem like I'm really getting it any better than what it is, so it definitely improved. I mean, it's still pretty hard ground, but I mean, at least I have a little bit of fluff for that seed to bed into now. And between the rocks and everything else out here, it's just pretty unforgiving with that little drag. So now I'm gonna fill my broadcaster up and start getting the fertilizer out first, and then come behind it with my seed and get the heck out of here. So we're gonna spread some urea, straight nitrogen here. Got about enough to do an acre here, so fertilizer's all out. And I stopped by the feed store today before I came out here to see if they had any open containers of clep that I could get to spray my clover at home. And then just out of curiosity, I said, you guys got any soybeans left over anywhere, or open box somewhere? And fortunately for me, they did. So I ended up grabbing, I don't know, they gave me like a 30-pound box, and it was like 20 bucks. So I thought, what the heck, it was cheap enough. I'm gonna try, and you know, a couple other people that I follow, they like to mix in some soybeans into their late fall plots here. So you know, obviously the first frost is gonna kill them, but that to get them young tender bean plants in here mixed in with this stuff as well, it may help with them knocking down all the other stuff first. So it was cheap enough. I figured I may as well try it and see how that goes. All right, guys, beans are out. Next step is to get the Monster Buck Rut Greens cold climate. I've been very anxious to try this out. and I'm hoping it does good. Stuff is tiny. All right, guys, we got all that stuff in, and it is miserably hot out here. I'm ready to get the heck out of here and head home. I have to do this same exact thing at home, but I'm going to wait until Sunday. It looks like our better chance of rain is on Sunday, and obviously at home it's a little easier for me to water and stuff like that if I need to. So all in all, it went pretty good. I mean, that getting a seed bed was probably about the toughest part, and I really don't know how much of one I really have, but it's better than what it was when I got here, and now it's just a matter of it. It looks like we got a few rains coming here starting like Sunday, and then another one Monday, and then another one like Wednesday. So fingers crossed that happens. We have plenty of heat, so 10-day forecast we're looking at like 90s, so I'm really hoping we get a few shots of rain in here on this stuff. But yeah, for the most part, this spot should be good to go unless something crucial happens and we get maybe just a single rain and then a bunch of heat afterwards. That might wreck it for me. But if you guys like this content, please hit that subscribe button. It kind of keeps this channel moving, so like it, share it, comment on it. That'd be great. For the most part, like I said, I'm going to be doing the same stuff at home, so it doesn't really pay to drag you guys along just to watch me do the same stuff. So I will be doing some, I'm going to take my drone out and be checking on this, and I'll probably make a few update videos, you know, just a couple minute videos on how this is doing with everything that I did, in case anybody's curious. So we'll catch you on the next one, guys.